It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the full shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
And I'm Linda Baas McClelland.
And this is It's Movie Time.
Yes, it is.
Well, Lenny, I think you returned recently from Parkersburg, West Virginia. How'd it look?
Actually, we didn't get over there because of an accident. We don't need to talk about that now.
But the area, you've been in
yes.
You've been in Parkersburg, West Virginia area.
Right.
And
I sure am glad I didn't drink much of the water.
Uh-oh, why? What makes you say that?
Well, the movie that we're talking about is Dark Waters, and the Dark Waters refers to water that has been contaminated by DuPont, a huge company.
The biggest chemical company in the country.
Indeed, and they've been pouring, is it PFO8 into the water?
C8, they call it, for short.
They call it for C8 for short.
It's a compound that can't be removed.
Right.
It's indestructible.
Yes, and they use it to make the coating on Teflon pans.
Among other
yes.
Other ingredients.
So the first thing I did after I saw this movie, I went home and I made sure I didn't have any old Teflon pans lurking in my kitchen cabinets.
Well, they claim that 99% of human beings have this C8 in them.
Right,
that's
right
how
now they
pervasive.
would,
yes,
definitely.
But the film depicts one particular farmer whose almost 200 cows died because they had deposited the waste that included C8 in an adjacent property to his farm.
Right.
And so you see macabre image of these mounds that are all dead cows.
Yes, and there were a lot of similar birth defects with newborn babies that they were seeing, and people were getting black teeth, and all kinds of bad things were going on. But there is a huge law firm in Cincinnati that represents DuPont, and Mark Ruffalo plays Bob Billett.
Yes.
Who is one of their lawyers.
He just made partner.
Okay, but this farmer bursts into their law firm one day and is going on and on and on about all the destruction that's going on at his farm.
He has videotapes.
And so Bob drives over to this farm, and it turns out that this man is a distant relative of his, and he has been to this farm as a child. And of course, John Denver is singing in the background, "Take Me Home,
yeah,
Country
when they
Roads."
do that, it's really sad.
It is so sad. And in the beginning of the movie, there is a little prologue that shows a bunch of kids, teenagers, jumping into the waters around Parkersburg, swimming naked, as kids do. So you know that they're being exposed even more to this dreadful, dreadful chemical.
But have no fear, because the socially conscious attorney, played by Mark Ruffalo, the socially conscious attorney, Bob Billett, goes after them on behalf of the farmer. And it then turns into a kind of formula that we've all seen before. It goes from All the President's Men up through Spotlight and Norma Ray and Silkwood and everything in between.
Erin Brockovich.
Yes, which is everybody will remember.
Yes.
And it becomes investigative reporting. So is this compelling, Lenny?
I found it rather tedious because the Bob Billett goes through mountains of old legal papers.
Oh my gosh!
And this case goes on for 2 decades.
Yeah.
So his whole life is just consumed by it. And his wife, played by Anne Hathaway, has to take a back seat to all this comings and goings. And
it's the part I fear the most in all of these is the crying, complaining wife. Mm-hmm. And I think Anne Hathaway does a good job in a thankless role.
Yes, a thankless role, yes.
And she has to dress down the managing partner of the firm, Tom Turp, played by Tim Robbins, and she has a good speech. That's about it for her. And so don't be misled by the ads, which show her name first. And I believe that's because Ruffalo is a producer, and he probably decided that her name is a bigger draw than his.
Yes.
So they put her first, but there's no way. But anyway, I guess a long way around by saying the part I fear the most was not so bad this time. It's like astronauts who go away, and then the wife is left with the kids and all. I mean, I got it. I know exactly what it means. But here, it seemed to be tamped down. But you mentioned the word tedious. And nothing better, no image better than all the boxes they deliver.
Oh my word! Mountains and mountains of legal papers, and he's sitting on the floor, going through all of them. And I think at one time the New York Times published in their magazine something about him being DuPont's worst nightmare.
In fact, that's the article from which this film was inspired.
Oh, okay.
Yes, very good. Yeah, Lenny, comment about the cinematography.
When they're driving into Parkersburg, it was very beautiful, but the colors were kind of subdued and grayish. And Parkersburg, in that area of West Virginia, is very beautiful.
Well, I think you made a really an important point there. When they capture for brief moments the beauty of autumn, it contrasts with almost all of the film, which is in a kind of blue. Gray.
Right, it's gray, very gray.
Oh, it's very gray. I mean, do a superb job of depressing you, along with everybody
right
in the film.
Yep.
But I'm still in love with this kind of investigator. We have the report with Adam Driver out at the same time.
Right.
So you have a similar, and I find that similarly tedious. But after all, that is the point. I mean, these people give their life, and it's not all
devoted to it.
It's not all glamorous.
Right.
But this is dark waters.
It sure is dark.
And eventually, we all know that it works out okay.
Right.
Even though that farmer dies.
And at one point, Bob Billet becomes ill, and they really don't explain exactly what is wrong with him. But he is in the hospital for a while. But he comes back and keeps on fighting until it finally is resolved. But
an amazing law firm that allowed him the scope to do this.
Right.
And then all the people who lived because. And it's a tremendous act of sacrifice that has great ramifications for everybody who lives in that area and for all of us. So, Linda Baas McClelland,
yes,
the
sir.
film is Dark Waters. What grade would you award it?
Excuse me. Don't go to this movie thinking you're going to be entertained. You will be educated, but there's nothing very entertaining about it. So I gave it a C.
All right. And I'm going to give it a B because that kind of wonky stuff does entertain me. Yeah, and partly because it does what director Todd Haynes, I think, wanted to do, would give us the sense of gloom coming from so many people suffering from being poisoned. But anyway, it's dark waters, and they are indeed dark.